The sun's up and the coffee's hot, and today marks the start of a brand new chapter, the freedom shift. Popeye's tail is wagging, the bags are packed, and we're saying goodbye to the house for a day, and we will hit the open road. There's nothing more like the sound of the gravel under the tires and that very first deep breath of fresh morning air that says, "Ah, freedom." This isn't just a trip, it's a shift in how we live, how we see the world, and how we chase what truly matters. Popeye already in the passenger seat, ready for the big adventure, and we're bringing along for every mile, every stop, and every unforgettable moment. This is the freedom shift, and it starts again right now. Have I told you what a great little companion this guy is? I tell you what, he absolutely loves to look around. I bet he feels completely different being in a four-wheeler versus an 18-wheeler. In the 18-wheeler, he was so much higher, he probably felt like the king of the road. Now that he's lower, down with everybody else, he looks around as if he's a little bit confused, and now he's going to try to get a little bit higher up so he can see the way it used to be. He cannot get up on the dashboard anymore, and when he does, he just has to crawl around on all fours. His knees, literally, he's crawling. But he made his spot. He can see above everybody else, so he thinks. But before we hit the open road today, we've really got to go on a quick stop into town to grab a few last-minute things. But as you can tell, Popeye is more than ready to be moving. He's already perched himself on the window, tag wagging, watching every car that goes by like it's the most exciting thing in the world. He knows that once the wheels start rolling, the adventure begins. And there's nothing he loves more than feeling the breeze on his face and watching the world fly past. So town first, and then it's back on the way to the highway for another day of the freedom shift with my favorite little co-pilot. And as I turn that corner in town, I know exactly where I'm going. It's a place I visit quite often, and it's called Fit Family Nutrition. And let me just tell you, it's really a great little place to go. You can't help but stop there, and when you do, you always get a smile on your face. Always knows exactly what I want, even before I say a word. She's got this amazing Herbalife-based business that's full of everything you need to fuel your day. From hot drinks, feel warm and a warm hug, to cold refreshing teas that give you that perfect energy boost. And don't even get me started on the meal replacement shakes.
Hey! How are you guys doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good. You know what I want already?
Yes.
Awesome. Bad to busy. Here we go for our day trip, but we have to start off at Fit Family Nutrition.
Well, as you can tell, I've got my drink. Popeye's looking at me like, what in the world? And then we continue on our trip. Where do you guys think we're going? It's nothing big this time. We're just taking a short little trip. So after grabbing my drink from Katie and waving goodbye to the hometown, we've had our very first stop. It was not our final destination, but it was a sweet little detour because Popeye needed to stretch his legs a bit. The South Arkansas Arboretum. The road leading in was lined with towering trees, and the minute we stepped out, you could just feel the peaceful, quiet energy this place has. I love being able to step into the woods and just take a deep breath and breathe. Now Popeye, oh, he thought this was the best stop ever. I'm telling you, this little guy had his nose to the ground from the moment his paws hit the path. Every flower, every blade of grass, he had to stop and smell it. I have to admit, I was getting a little bit frustrated, but like he was making sure that we didn't miss one single thing. I think he was convinced that this whole arboretum was planted just for him. The flowers here were incredible. Splashes of yellow, bursts of pink, and some of the richest purples I have ever seen. Even in the summer heat cranking up, there's something about being surrounded by all the color and life that just makes you breathe a little deeper. We found a bit of a shade, took a minute to cool off, and just listened to the bird songs echoing through the trees, while Popeye did his official sniff test in every bush in sight. It's stops like this that make the love of the journey even more. We're not in a rush. We're just chasing the next big destination. We're collecting moments, and this one, Popeye's wagging tail and flowers, the sunshine, this one is a keeper for the Freedom Shift. Here's some of the flowers, the bright yellows, the entranceway to the Arboretum, the red roses, and the beautiful deep purples. Now, leaving the Arboretum behind, Popeye finally pulling away from his sniff fest, we continued on our drive towards Smackover, Arkansas, a small town that's anything but ordinary. Smackover's population is just over 1,600 people as of the 2020 census. Tiny by most standards, but full of character. What really sets it apart, though, is the fact that it's home to the only pedestal-mounted traffic light in the entire state, a true one-of-a-kind relic. Unlike modern lights hanging over the intersection, this one stands right in the middle of the road, just like they're used to back in the early days of the automobile. Folks here finally call it the red light, because really it doesn't need to control much else. The little signet dates to the town's big oil boom in 1920. Smackover exploded from a quiet community into a bustling hub almost overnight after oil was discovered nearby in 1922. Buildings went up fast, and so did landmarks like this. Like the light, it symbols a burst of activity in what was then a burgeoning economic gold mine. Today it's more than a traffic device. It's a local treasure, the last surviving pedestal light in Arkansas, nominated in 2011 for the National Registry of Historic Places. Standing right where old downtown storefronts line South Broadway, is like a time capsule, reminding everyone who passes through Smackover's colorful past. As we pull into the center of town, you can't help but notice how quiet it feels. Popeye perked up at the whirl of the light changing, but mostly he just was excited to sniff around the tiny downtown. The warmth of the day echoes, and the heat of the boom years, but there's a peaceful slowness here now, a calm that only comes when traffic is more about stories than congestion. Now, after soaking up the little history in Smackover and snapping a few pictures of that one-of-a-kind traffic light, we headed just a few miles down the road and made our way back to El Dorado. This town always has such a lively feel. Historic buildings, friendly faces, and little hidden gems on every corner. Popeye sure found his way around, and he wanted to go into the ice cream shop. And let me tell you, today's gem, well, it was a little off the beaten path. And I'll tell you about that in just a moment. But I wanted to show you how cool this is. Look at what me and Popeye are fixing to run across. Look at that, a telephone booth. Reminds me of the ones in London. And one of the favorite things we spotted today were these bright red telephone booths scattered around town. But they're not for making calls anymore. They've been turned into little free book libraries. How cool is that? You can just walk up, open the door, and there are shelves of books for anyone to borrow or trade. Yes, this one's a little messy, but you gotta keep going. So the next stop, we just kind of walked around the entire town, looked at some of the beautiful old buildings and some of the things that were sitting around. There were lots of different statues and memorials around town. Next we come upon some old wagon wheels that are yellow, and also it looks like some type of engine. I'm not sure exactly what they're for, and it really didn't say anything about them, so I'll have to learn about that. Okay, I think we're going to get in the car. Here's some really quick snapshots I took around the building. I love the bell. With the sun beginning to dip low on the horizon, we took one last look around Smackover and El Dorado. tucking the day's memories close to our hearts. The little towns, the friendly faces, and the quiet charm of it all felt like a step back into a simpler time. As we began our drive home, the road stretched out ahead like an old friend leading us back. The hum of the tires on the pavement and the gentle lullaby. It was the kind of day that made you grateful for small towns, good company, and a promise of home waiting just around the corner. We did find this old school building and graveyard along the way. Popeye is sure tuckered out. A quick stop at the Frog Level Monument and then on our way to entering Texas. We rolled up to Three States Monument, the quiet little corner of Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana come together like old friends meeting in a fence line. The air felt still there, almost like it was holding its breath, remembering all the footsteps and wagon wheels that had passed through over the years. The monument itself is still a bit off the facelift these days, but if you take a moment and really look, you'll find something special. The old tree standing watch nearby, still bearing the faint X carved by the surveyors long ago. Back then the tree was only a marker to promise to future travelers that this was the very spot where three states shook hands. And as the years rolled on, storms come and seasons turned. That tree kept growing, but it held onto that mark like a memory it didn't want to let go. So with the sun dipping lower and the day nearly done, we stood there a while, letting history whisper its story, feeling mighty blessed to have found it before heading home.